Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, this is Margo. This is Tuesday, February 7th, 2017, and my website is margoshealingcorner.com. I'm a hypnotist, holistic life coach, mind-body fitness coach, and spiritual healer. I've been doing some shows on the spike and the singularity, how we're being taken over by AI, how this is a battle really for our souls once we hit singularity, and it's coming really fast if we haven't already hit it somewhere in our society. And I'm going to be focusing on two articles that I found today. The title of the show today is AI versus Christianity. Satan's manipulation is everywhere. And these two articles are very interesting. If anybody's listening live and would like to call in and discuss this, the guest call-in number is 845-262-0773. And it's my belief that AI is the single greatest threat that we have to our humanity. We're living in the last generation of humans because it's here. The dark side is going to be implanting people, wanting to get them uploaded to computers. You know, that's part of the transhumanist movement, making them cyborgs like in Star Trek. And it's advancing so fast, and unless you're keeping up with it all the time, it's hard to know exactly where we are. In fact, we don't know where we are, and that's what Damien Broderick was saying in the spike, that once we hit a certain point where our information is advancing so fast that it really gets out of control. So we're really reaching that point. And the first article that I'm going to be referring to, and the links are below in the show description. The first one is from The Atlantic. It was published February 3rd, 2017. It's called, "Is AI a Threat to Christianity? Are You There, God? It's I, Robot." I'm just going to read a little bit of this. In his relatively short tenure, Pope Francis has been hard at work welcoming spiritual seekers into the Catholic Church. He's refused to judge LGBT people, sought to integrate divorced couples, and extended priests' ability to forgive abortion. But Francis's wide arms have arguably never stretched further than a Mass in 2014 when he suggests the Church would baptize Martians. Quote, "If, for example, tomorrow an expedition of Martians came and one says, 'But I want to be baptized,' what would happen?" Pope Francis asked. And he responds by saying, "When the Lord shows us the way, who are we to say, 'No, Lord, it's not prudent. No, let's do it this way'?" Unquote. While playful, this odd scenario got at a serious question about just how far the church's welcome can go. Should Christianity, the world's largest religion, embrace all intelligent life, even aliens? Granted, the arrival of green space creatures seeking salvation isn't very likely, but the Pope's lesson opens the door to the acceptance of another science fiction stalwart, too, one that's not so easily dismissed, namely hyper-intelligent machines. While most theologians aren't paying it much attention, some technologists are convinced that artificial intelligence is on an inevitable path toward autonomy. How far away this may be depends on whom you ask, but the trajectory raises some fundamental questions for Christianity as well as religion broadly conceived. Through this article, I'm going to stick to the faith tradition I know best. In fact, AI may be the greatest threat to Christian theology since Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species. For decades, artificial intelligence has been advancing at breakneck speed. Today, computers can fly planes, interpret X-rays, and sift through forensic evidence. Algorithms can paint masterpiece artworks and compose symphonies in the style of Bach. Google is developing artificial moral reasoning so that its driverless cars can make decisions about potential accidents. AI is already here. It's real, it's quickening, says Kevin Kelly, a co-founder of Wired magazine and the author of The Inevitable, Understanding the 12 Technological Forces That Will Shape Our Future. He goes on to say, I think the formula for the next 10,000 startups is to take something that already exists and add AI to it. So I'm going to stop there. Let's talk about AI and what is it and who created it. Where does it come from? And in that vein, I'm going to refer to another article in Pathos. It's called Do You Believe in the Singularity? And it was published February 4th, 2017. And it says, according to Wikipedia, the technological singularity is defined as that moment in the future when, quote, the invention of artificial superintelligence will abruptly trigger runaway technological growth, resulting in unfathomable changes to human civilization, unquote. So that's where we're at. We're on the brink. If DARPA or the the Black Ops have not already created it, I mean they are right on the brink of creating AI to the point where it will be out of control for us. And who created this? Humans. Man created the machines. Man created through all kinds of weird technology and more than likely retrieved alien technology from spaceships and being guided by the dark side and maybe the light side, but it's not being used for very much good. It's being used for evil purposes. When you've got CERN opening up all the portals, and you've got the smart dust to infiltrate us and to control us and take over our bodies. You've got Wi-Fi. You've got all this stuff. I don't see that it's being used that much for good. I don't see it healing us. I don't see it progressing as a good thing because Satan is in charge of this AI revolution and the machines and the robots. So when he talks about Google creating, moral reasoning, well, who's to say what's moral and what's immoral? By Google's terms, that may be something totally immoral according to Christianity, or what you know is right deep down inside. And so I'm saying that this is a battle from Satan. It's a direct attack, it's a direct battle, and it's to take over the human soul. And this article, the first one that I quoted, goes on to say that once the sentient beings are created, that they'll essentially have a soul. And I totally disagree, because the soul comes from what we know as our Creator, God. And if man creates something, creates a machine, a highly intelligent machine, that does not mean that it has a soul that's created from what we know as our Creator or God, because the God is the machine. It's really going to the machine. So I'm totally upset about all of this. It goes on to say in this article, if this seems okay, would AI have a soul? It says, those in religious context don't know precisely what a soul is. Well, we have a pretty good idea. This is by Margo, and he says, we've understood it to be some non-physical essence of an individual that's not dependent upon or tied to their body. Would AI have a soul by that definition? Unquote. I don't think AI would have a soul, or if it did have a soul, it would be inhabited by what created it, which would be satanic influence. So it could be artificially controlled. It's obviously being artificially controlled, but I'm thinking it could have demonic entities attached to it, and it could be possessed by Satan, possessed by the dark side. Anyway, this guy goes on and says, if this seems like an absurd question, consider technologies such as in vitro fertilization and genetic cloning. Intelligent life is created by humans in each case, but presumably many Christians would agree that those beings have a soul. Well, those are still, I don't know that genetic cloning, I don't know where cells come in there. And in vitro, you're still combining an egg with a sperm. And so it's just in the petri dish rather than by two people having sex. So potentially you could have a soul with that. Anyway, this guy goes on, and Margo says, if you have a soul and you create a physical copy of yourself, you assume your physical copy also has a soul. Well, I think that's faulty reasoning because the physical body is separate from the soul and separate from the spirit. The body is where we interface into this reality. And he goes on, but if we learn to digitally encode a human brain, then AI would be a digital version of ourselves. If you create a digital copy, does your digital copy also have a soul? Well, he thinks that you do, and I don't think you do. I don't think you necessarily would. You wouldn't have the same soul, I don't think. Or you might have a soul fragment, a fragment of yourself, of the original soul. These are all things we need to think about before we get too far gone in this rabbit hole, because you know, they're screwing around up there. They are acting like they're God. They want to be God, but this is satanic. And remember that Satan cannot create. Satan can only copy or go in and pervert and modify what God already created. Satan is not the creator. He lies, he cheats, he steals, he kills, he tries to manipulate, and he is not the creator. Only God is the creator. Our creator, infinite consciousness. And Jesus came as divine, as Son of God, to show us how to live and to help us to fight the dark side. But anyway, this guy goes on and says, can AI be saved? Can AI pray? And why can't they? You know, as long as they know that there's something bigger than them, why can't they pray? Why can't Christianity, you know, embrace robots and, you know, all sentient beings and stuff? And so this is just these are some things that I want everyone to think about, because we're going to come up against this. This is going to be changing our reality. Our whole society will be changed with this. There will be new laws written to protect these artificially intelligent beings, the sentient beings, and these AI will actually have be able to think faster, be able to act faster, because, you know, they won't be limited by the human body, by the emotions and everything. But that's exactly what makes us human. And so you cannot put robots and humans in the same category. And this is what Satan is trying to do, and trying to make us think that it's okay, and oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to get a chip in us so that we can live forever? Wouldn't it be wonderful that we could get little nanobots shot up in us to heal whatever is wrong with us? Wouldn't it be wonderful that we could think, you know, 1,000 times faster than we already can? Well, it's all going to be under control of Satan, under the control of the dark side. And anybody who thinks that they are saving themselves by joining the transhumanist movement or getting the mark when that comes, or anything like that, or accepting robots as the sentient beings along with, that are equal to and better than humans, is wrong, because this is the satanic force. This is the mark of the dark side. This is how we're being manipulated to be taken over, and we're giving it over. We're giving it over to Satan, you know, and the robots are on the rise, and this is the greatest threat to humans, to our humanity, and it's going to be coming down fast. So you need to think about these things and think about, you know, your answers to these questions. And what are you going to do? You know, how would you respond to this? Does AI have a soul? And if so, what kind of soul? And how are you going to deal with it? And what kind of morals are going to be programmed into this artificial intelligence? And will there be a lock in there so that they won't kill humanity if they don't, whatever? I mean, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy, because who's to say that the AI won't go in and say, well, they're superior to us because now they don't need us anymore. Well, they needed us to make the robots, to make the machines in the first place, but, once they're programmed, once they get in there and can make themselves and won't need us, who's to say they won't come out and kill us? And it will be an all-out battle. It will be. And this is a battle for the souls. This is a battle against humanity, against Christianity. This is the wars in the heavens coming to earth. The veils are thin. I invite you to think about these things. And if you haven't gotten right with God and Jesus, if you haven't asked for forgiveness and gotten on the right side, now's the time, because my sources say time is short and that lines are being drawn right now. And because once everything hits the fan, you won't even have time to think about it. If you're being taken up in a flood or in a nuclear blast or who knows what, you won't have time to think. You need to already make your decision now and start living with integrity and doing the right thing. Anyway, I just wanted to share those thoughts with you. And also, as far as spiritual warfare, they're using technology in spiritual warfare against Christians and against people, and people don't even realize that. And I see it in my work with people. When I do sessions with them to remove implants, I empath with them and can look into the body and see what's going on in the body and in the energy bodies, the etheric body, emotional body, and different things. And I do see robotic influences with some people. They are already robotized. I see a metallic body overlaying their body, taking over, and it's being controlled by machines. It's being controlled by computers, and it's being controlled from a different dimension even. So, this is real. This is real. And people like that, they've already sold out, and they knew. They knew what they were doing, and they agreed. At some point, they agreed. Somewhere along the way, they agreed. And these contracts and these agreements are very subtle, and it can be, you don't even realize that you agreed to it, or it might have been your parents did some kind of agreement or some kind of ritual or something and sold you out to the dark side. So all of that has to be discovered and broken, and it can't be done in one session. People want this done in one session, and, if I look at something and say, well, I see a satanic being attached to you, it might take a couple more sessions to really get down to the nitty-gritty of it. You need to think about these things. And a lot of people do have entities attached to them. It doesn't mean that they're possessed, demonically possessed, but they can definitely be demonically influenced. There's a difference between possession and being influenced. But this is pretty long and involved, but this is the tip of the iceberg, AI versus Christianity. But this is Satan's manipulating, and he's getting in everywhere. His hand is in everything. So my message is be alert, be discerning, question everything, go within your heart, ask for Jesus to come in and give you guidance. As for your angels, your highest guides, angelic beings, beings of the light of God, and holy warrior angels to come and protect you when you're looking inside, and say your prayers. And if you don't know if Jesus is real or not, say, Jesus, if you're real, please, I want to know. That's how it started with me. And I had undoubtable proof. God, if you're real, I want to know. And I do surrender. And you have to surrender your ego. You have to surrender what you think you want, what you think is best for you. You don't know what's best for you. If you've got belief systems and programming, which everybody does, you don't know, and you can be confused. You can be pulled one way and another from different sources. And unless you can go within and be clear and get guidance from deep inside, and it's in your heart chamber, and that's where Jesus connects, is your heart chamber. He doesn't connect in your head. He connects in your heart. Unless you can do that and get real clear guidance, it's hard to know. And the implants, the belief systems, they cover you up. And the dark side is using all of this, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse, to where people cannot think, they can't make a decision, they're just going to be totally mind-controlled. And it's happening right in front of your face. It's in your face right now. So that's my show for today. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I hope you, this gives you some things to think about. I'll be doing more shows on this as these things come up. And again, my website is margoshealingcorner.com. And I also have a YouTube channel, Margo's Healing Corner. And I have a lot of videos up, other radio shows I've done, interviews I've done. I've interviewed some really spectacular people in the past, and I'm always looking for more good people to interview, depending on, what the field is. I've interviewed Richard Souter, who is an expert in underground bases, underwater bases, mind control, things like that. I've interviewed Jordan Maxwell. I've interviewed Dan Willis. He was part of the Disclosure Project. With that, he testified to the press club on the Disclosure Project. And, if I come across someone interesting, I like to interview people. So if you've got something interesting you want to get out to the world, contact me through my website at margoshealingcorner.com, and let's talk and see if we can get the world awakened as quickly as possible to some of these things. So anyway, I'm signing off for today. I'm Margo. So be safe, be well, and God bless.